All right, Dana's on.
Is this Dana?
Yep.
God, I love him. Dana, I don't even get nervous anymore when I'm interviewing you.
Good.
A lot of people get really nervous because you really are a big time star. I kind of knew you when you were just regular Dana.
I'm still regular Dana.
I don't know, man. Why are you taking commercial flights over to Abu Dhabi? You should be doing private willies. I know what you're worth.
No. You don't want to fly private to Abu Dhabi, man, unless you got like a 747.
Yeah.
That's a long flight, man. When you fly on, like, it's the same thing going to Australia and places like that.
But do you get one of those pods? Do you get one of those pods up in first class?
Oh, hell yes.
Okay.
And Etihad Airways those pods. They're incredible.
Yeah, it's like a hotel.
They got 50 movies. They got, it's perfect.
So Dana White says, bitch, I can afford a G6, but I prefer to take this one where I can pot it up.
You're better off.
Well, I'm telling you, 100%, man. You don't want to even if you have like a Global Express, it's still, it's a long flight, man. You're in a small plane, and I like the bigger planes better. And then when you're going to like China, Cathay Pacific. That's my favorite. I love that airline.
Yeah.
When you were growing up in Massachusetts, having to borrow money from gangsters, did you ever think you'd have Global Express issues, Dana?
No, I did not. I didn't even know about Global Expresses.
Is it true, Dana, that you borrowed some money from Whitey Bulger or something, and they said, "Hey, Dana, we're going to come kill you tomorrow," and you said, "I'm out of here, buddy"?
No, that's not what happened. What happened was I was being shaken down in South Boston for money. I didn't owe them money. They felt like I owed them money.
So they were like, "Hey, we're just going to fuck this guy. We're just going to shake him down," and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm going to go to Vegas and make more than all you guys."
Yeah, well, I didn't know that at the time, but yeah, it's funny how things work out, and timing is everything in life. So, they did me a huge favor.
Dana, because you're really approachable and you're like one of the boys, do you have any of the, your guys from high school, like your boys, ever try to get a hold of you and, kick it? And, I'm sure they don't ask for money or anything like that, but are you still just regular old Dana, these guys?
I still hang out with them. All the guys that I hang out with are guys I grew up with. I don't really, there's a couple of people that, I think really the only guys I hang out, well, other than Skipper Kelp, who's a fighter, used to be a boxer back in the day. I hang out with all the same guys I used to hang out with. My circle is very small.
And what a lot of people don't know, by the way, Dana White on the phone, we'll talk about UFC 252 this weekend. Huge, sexy heavyweight matchup and the co-main with our boy, The Sugar Show. But a lot of people don't know that Dana, I think, Dana, you scratched out a $100,000 check for your old high school. I think you gave $1 million of your own money to the Vegas shooting people. I think that you paid for a kid liver transplant with one of your boxing trainer guys. A lot of people don't know how philanthropic you are.
Yeah, we do lots of stuff. I'm just, I'm not that guy. I think it's goofy when you show up with the big check and do all that stuff. You do stuff because you want to do it, not because you want to brag about it. But yeah, we do a lot. We do a lot of stuff for a lot of people.
Dana, are you really close with Brady? Because, he's new, in Tampa, he's Jesus Christ.
Brady is my man, and yes, he is Jesus Christ. Yeah, I love Tom Brady, man. I talk to him probably once a week.
You got to tell him that I said hi, and I met him with Dion when Dion was down here, and Shador, his son, was getting some lessons. Dion brought me, and I got to meet Tom, but, I was kind of afraid to really say too much because if you Google me, it doesn't really turn up too good,
Yeah, I'll tell him you said hi.
I mean, is the NFL going to play in front of fans this year, or are they already shutting that down?
I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. The big question right now is, does the SEC and the ACC go? I don't know. There's a lot of questions, man, and I don't know.
And it's a shitstorm, and it's an absolute shitstorm, Dana, because now they're saying that maybe some of these Big Ten guys might try to get a hold of some schools in Florida or other schools and be transferring, and it's just it's an absolute shit show.
It's already happening. My son plays at USD, and kids are already bouncing and trying to go to these other schools that they think are going to go.
And so now, does the NCAA have to change its transfer portal and all that kind of stuff and allow these kids to play because it's beyond their control?
I would let them. Yeah, I mean, some of these kids that are so good as a professional athlete, one thing that you don't have is time. So to sit out and I would let them. Yes.
Dana White on the phone, UFC 252. Dana, I know over the years you've had some real sexy fights, the McGray, all the Connor stuff, and just all from back in the day deal. But this is a sexy card. This card's got to excite you.
Yeah, I'm very excited for this card. Obviously, the heavyweights are always fun, and these two are exciting heavyweights to watch. They're 1-1 with each other, and this is the trilogy to find out who the greatest heavyweight of all time is. So this is a fun one.
If Daniel would win, could you see? Now I know this isn't the name that you want to hear. I know you don't like talking about John Jones, but could you see Jones jump up? And Cormier is saying he's going to retire. Do you think he really does, or do you think you can get another one out of him, Dana?
I don't mind talking about John Jones. John Jones is he's the greatest or one of the greatest ever. But yeah, I think that if it depends Saturday night how Cormier looks. I think if Cormier looks really good, I think Cormier fights again. Maybe he does fight Jones at heavyweight. I don't know.
How much would you love that? Can you get a hold of John and say, John, stop the shit. I got a match that we got to put. You want the money? This is the money. Can you get into John? Can you make inroads with him, Dana? You think?
I have a guy who works here for me. He's a lawyer. His name is Hunter, and he has a much better rapport with John Jones. He and John Jones talk, so those two will talk it out. John and I are like pouring gas on the fire. So we'll see what happens.
We've become friends with Matt Riddle on WWE. They told me never to mention that name to you, but I'm like, I can talk to Dana about anything. What?
Yeah, Matt Riddle thinks I hate him. Matt Riddle hates me, but I have no problem with Matt Riddle.
I think he's afraid of you, Dana. I don't think he hates you at all. I think I don't know where it went sideways, but he didn't say a bad word. I just think he's a little bit leery of you.
Well, I was going to say he talks a lot of shit publicly for a guy that's afraid of me. I don't think he's afraid of me. He hates me.
The next time I have him in here.
What happened was he made a really stupid comment. A few years ago, and I released him because of it.
Right.
And so I understand the fact that he hates me, and it's all good.
But Dana, a lot of times sometimes you have to make the unpopular. It's not easy being the boss. It really isn't.
It ain't easy, brother.
How about The Rock and the XFL? I saw that you loved that.
Yep.
I mean, do you think that there's something there?
Listen, I love guys that take chances, man. Let me tell you what. With all this stuff that's going on right now, the playing field has been leveled. All these businesses, over a third of the restaurants in this country are going to go out of business. Sports, leagues that you thought could never be shook. The college football and all these, the Big Ten, the this, the that, the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Anything is possible right now. If The Rock can get this thing up and running quickly, I don't know how possible that is, but if he can get this thing up and running quickly, people are dying to watch live sports.
Now, Dana, do you think the long play, where the real money in on that would be, to hold it, to make it something, and then hope that the NFL could maybe buy it as like a developmental deal?
I don't know. I think that I wouldn't say that's the long play. I mean, if you're getting into something, you're not getting in it. Yeah, I guess there's some people that build businesses to be sold. You know what I mean? But that wouldn't be my play. My play would be to kick the NFL's ass. That would be my play.
Says a guy that built a company and sold it and did really well.
Yeah, but I wasn't the guy out in front trying to sell it. You know what I mean? The Fertittas were my partners, and Lorenzo was done. He wanted to go. Believe me, I terrorized him about it, and he was like, Dana, listen, be happy for me, man. I'm done. And I love these guys. They're like my brothers. So. Yeah, once he told me that, it changed my whole outlook on it. But I'm still here, and I'm going to be here for a long time.
Oh, I heard you just signed a new 7-year deal too.
Yeah, I did.
And I heard when you guys bought UFC, the only thing you got was a ring and like the logo. Like that's it. There was nothing left.
Yeah, the old owner had stripped down all the, he'd sold the video game, the DVD rights, everything was gone. We didn't own any of that stuff when we bought it. We had to go back out and buy it back from Lionsgate. Thank God Lionsgate sold it to us. Thank God.
If they hadn't, it might be a whole different deal.
Let me tell you what, if they hadn't, Lionsgate would be killing it right now off all the work that we've done. Thank God they sold it. It's probably one of the craziest things ever that they did. It just goes to show you that they absolutely positively didn't believe in it.
No, they didn't believe it.
So they were like, these idiots are going to give us, I don't remember what we paid for it, but it was over $1 million. This much money for all these rights back for this thing.
Do you think, hey Dana, do you think Lionsgate initially goes, man, we really got these suckers, these stupid fucks. Look at these guys paying all this money for this shit.
100%. They absolutely did. Otherwise, why would you let that go? When a couple of billionaires have invested in the thing, and we're trying to get all the rights back to it that they own. It's incredible. I mean, that's part of the story that never really gets talked about or told. It's incredible.
No, nobody appreciates that score. Like, everybody knows the sexy side of it, how you built it up for the fight, but nobody knows the rights that you had to buy back from Lionsgate. Most people don't know that.
Yeah, a massive Hollywood studio sold us the rights back that they owned. It's incredible.
I mean, and that end up being worth billions of dollars. Billions. We had Sugar Show on this week. What a great kid, and he has the it factor, and he gets it on the social networking. Do you Dana, sometimes you show new guys that this is how you do it? Like, I don't necessarily do it like the Sugar Show, but he gets the social media aspect of it and has done well.
Yeah. Some of these kids that come in, I'll give you an example. When he fought on his first fight on the Contender, 5.5 million people watched that fight. So he has that thing. He has that thing that people like. Everywhere I go now already, people are already talking to me about him. So this is a big weekend for him, man. He's got to beat Chito Vera. Chito Vera is like the first big test of his career. So if he gets through Chito Vera, like he's got through everybody else, this kid's on his way.
Then does he go to Corey? That's what everybody's saying. Is that what you do next?
Do what?
Who does he go after, Chito?
Oh, I don't know. Then we figure it out from there. We look at who we think, and it's going to depend. Saturday we will look and see how he does against Chito Vera, right? Sean O'Malley's ranked number 14 in the world right now. So you look at how he does against Chito, and then we figure out who's next.
I know who's next.
Who?
Biggest pay-per-view ever. A guy that you don't like, who I'd love to see Sugar Show bash his brains in. Justin Timberlake. That'd be a great show, wouldn't it? Same way. Same way.
You think I don't like everybody? I like Timberlake. Timberlake and I have
he pissed you off one time.
No, but I'm going to turn you on this one. You don't like Timberlake. Let me tell you what. When that whole thing went down with me and Timberlake, and he found out that I was pissed off about that, he called me. He called me on my phone. He said, "Listen to me. I apologize. I didn't know that I did that and all this stuff." That guy didn't have to call me. He could be like, "Man, fuck that guy,"
Well, then he knows how to work, then, doesn't he?
Oh, he's a good dude. He's a solid guy. He's a good guy, and you're wrong about him. He's a great guy.
Well, thank you for the correction, but a Sugar Show Timberlake deal would be a big pay-per-view now, wouldn't it?
Probably, yeah, but it would be bad for Timberlake.
Oh, I know it would be.
We don't want to do that to Timberlake. We like Timberlake now.
Dana, if there's one person that you could do a reset with, the one person that maybe you still got heat with, that you could just be like, fuck it, let's just start over because we're boys. Who would it be?
Oh my God! Somebody that I don't like that I could start over with.
Well, that you could just say, obviously Hogan's mad at me, and I wish I could redo that. I wish I could have a redo on that. Is there anybody that Dana White would want to do a redo? Now, Dana, I ask the stupid questions.
Now, here's the thing about me. When I cut you out of my life, I cut you out of my life for a reason. There's no way in hell I'm bringing you back. You're gone for a reason, and that's that. See you later.
Boom. Done.
Done. No regrets, no looking back, no nothing.
The Dana White's Mount Rushmore of MMA.
I mean, it's so hard. John Jones, that's the easy first. Anderson Silva. Got to put GSP in there. And I think you have to put have a female that I'd put Amanda Nunes.
Boom. I mean, you're right. That's your Mount Rushmore. How happy were you? This is the Dana White way. You know, when Jorge came in with a 6-day notice, cut 20 pounds, did good as shit. That's a company man right there, and that goes a long way with you, Dana. I think that's the kind of thing you're looking for.
Yeah, no, Jorge stepped up, man, and gave us a great fight on Fight Island, and I have a lot of respect for him and what he's accomplished in the last couple of years, man.
I got a favor, just a quick favor. I've known you since '06, met you a zillion times. I love you. I think you've been on my show a lot. I think you know when a radio guy has the it factor or whatever, and I think I'm decent. I got a good radio, whatever. Can you put a good word in for me with Joe Rogan? You know, when Howard needed a Cowboy Cerrone, he picked me. I flanked Howard for years on 101. Don't you think Joe needs a flanking over there at Spotify?
Yeah, sure. But Joe's one of those guys, another guy with a tight circle, and he's surrounded by his boys that are, all the guys that go out on the road with him and do comedy. And but I'll put the word in for you.
I don't even want to be one of his boys. I just want to do a radio show for him because I kick ass.
Bubba the Lum Sponge wants to be your stunt double.
Well, I don't know about stunt. Joe used to actually listen to, when we were on Howard 101, Joe used to listen to the show a lot. He has to kind of think we're decent, I got to think.
I bet he still does. I mean, Joe's a very smart, he's very intellectual. He listens to a lot of stuff, reads a lot of books, listens to a lot of different stuff. I'm sure he still listens.
And I couldn't be any more. Listen, this doesn't even come from a jealousy side of things. I couldn't be more proud of Joe because Joe didn't need terrestrial radio. Joe went out and niched this on his own, carved it out, and he's brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant. Don't ever let him go, Dana. He's a big part of your deal. I think you know that.
Oh, yeah, I agree. I love Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan and I are going to be together till we're both done. I agree with you. What that guy has done, built it with his own two hands.
Yep, built his own stage and fucking killed it. Kind of like you did.
Thank you.
Who wins? Yeah. Who wins? You versus Joe Rogan, MMA. Who wins?
Well, I'm 51 years old, and I fight every day to get on a treadmill, okay? I ain't looking to fight anybody anymore.
I got to tell you look good, though. I think you've kind of you look like you've gotten back into shape.
Well, you know what happened last year? I blew my shoulder out, and I had to have rotator cuff surgery. And, when I started getting back into going through physical therapy and getting back in the gym, the first time ever in my life, I hired a trainer. And it was the best thing I ever did. I absolutely love it. For those of you I knew how to work out, so I worked out my whole life. If you've never had a trainer and you're getting older, hire a trainer. It's the greatest thing you'll ever do.
Now, are you glad you got that surgery? Because Bubba's kind of in the same boat right now.
I'm supposed to get it, Dana, and I heard it's the worst.
So I'm going to tell you this. It is the worst. When I work out now, I'm so afraid that I'm going to hurt my shoulder again because that surgery sucks so bad. But let me tell you this. Now, my shoulder that I had surgery on feels like it's 20 years old, like a 20-year-old shoulder.
Like my shoulders are so bad, Dana, I can't even lift a gallon of milk with my shoulder. That's how bad it is.
Now, my other shoulder that I didn't have the surgery on is all banged up, but this shoulder I had surgery on is like brand new, man. It's incredible. And I'm terrified that the other one's going to snap, but if it does, I'm just going to have to get through it, and then I know how good both shoulders are going to feel.
Now, are the rehabs? I heard the rehabs will make you cry on the rotator cuff.
Yeah, so where I'm very lucky, we have the best physical therapist on the planet here at the UFC. I want to say 2 days after the surgery, they had me doing physical therapy. Now, if you might run into a doctor that says you can't do it for a month or 6 weeks, don't listen to them. You find a really good physical therapist, and you start doing physical therapy immediately.
Mike Tyson, Roy Jones Jr., Dana.
Yep.
What's Dana White's prediction?
So I was supposed to go last week, and some stuff was going on. Tyson wants me to come out and watch him train, so I'm going to do it probably next week. I'm going to go see him and check it out. I want to see Mike spar and watch how he moves, see what kind of shape he's in. The difference is that Mike hasn't fought in years. Roy Jones Jr. fought like a year or 2 years ago.
I think you put it on Fight Pass, did you not?
Yeah, that's right. Man, you know your shit.
Dana, this is Bubba the fucking Love Sponge you're talking to, buddy. Come on.
I know. So I'm going to go check him out. Listen, we'll talk leading up to the fight, and I'll have an opinion for you.
I got to tell you, Tyson looks like. I mean, when I saw him on Joe's show a while back, and he looked like he kind of was out of shape, but he looks like he's really dialed in. He looks great.
He looks awesome, man. Listen, he's a freak of nature. When that guy starts training, I mean, if you look back at pictures of Tyson when he was 13, he's just a physical freak. And when he was the heavyweight champion of the world, there was no badder looking motherfucker on earth than Mike Tyson. And when the guy trains, he looks good.
And it's like, is there something in his brain like, okay, he's either in fight mode or not? But when he gets in fight mode, it's like almost he becomes like his eyes roll in the back of his fucking head, and like he's almost borderline scary. Like he freaks you out.
Oh, he's scary as hell, man. I mean, Tyson, years after he was done fighting, I mean, when that guy walks into a room, the whole room stops and, shits their pants, and they're like, holy shit. There's just something about when a guy walks in the room and he can beat the shit out of everybody in the room. It's fascinating.
And the UFC, Dana, who's that guy, the toughest? Maybe not the guy who had the baddest record, maybe not the guy, but who was the toughest motherfucker ever? Like, just badass. Is it John Jones? Like, who's the baddest motherfucker ever?
There's so many guys. I mean, Chuck Liddell in his prime. Chuck Liddell had that thing when he would walk into the room. I used to throw these parties early on for all of our, the pay-per-view people and sponsors and things like that at the MGM and at the Mandalay Bay. And Chuck would come up after the fight, and the fucking room would go crazy, man. Everybody would go nuts when he would walk in the room. He had that thing. And as far as tough, badass dudes, there's so many of them. I mean, but Dan Henderson is another one that stands out. Me and Dan Henderson used to fuck with each other all the time. And when you would grab onto that guy, it's like if you grabbed onto the table or fucking, he was just solid as a rock. And he was kind of a mean motherfucker, too.
How about Brock? Brock ever coming back, you think, Dana?
Oh, yeah, Brock's another one. Brock has a very hardcore, brash personality, and Brock's another dude that would slap you in the fucking mouth in 2 seconds.
If you had one competition like old school when the Gracies used to fight and there were no weight limits, it was just old school, who on your roster would win it all?
Oh, God. I mean, right now I have 630 fighters under contract. If you look over the last 20 years, I mean, there's been thousands of guys. For me to say who's the toughest of all time and who would beat everybody, it's hard to say.
No, but like, how about the current roster? The current roster, winner takes all, no weight limit. Let's do it old school. UFC 2.
It's hard to not think of Khabib. You can never count John Jones out. Think about John Jones and how long he's been doing this and all the guys that he's fought and everybody that he beat. Meanwhile, the life he's living outside of the octagon. You know what I mean? Imagine if this guy was taking fucking shakes every day and taking care of himself and going to bed on time and doing all this shit. What a monster that guy would have been, right? It's hard to deny John Jones. Even though, he and I don't always see eye to eye and have the best relationship, you still can't deny what a bad dude. Oh, and another one is Daniel Cormier. How about Daniel Cormier has fought in 2 weight classes his entire career, and the only guy that's ever beat him is John Jones, and then recently Stipe Miocic, who he was winning the entire fight until, Miocic made some adjustments and beat him. Cormier doesn't get the credit he deserves as being one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time.
This Saturday night, man, I'm pulling for him. I really, really am. How's Rich Frank, like the old school guys like Rich Franklin and Muscle Shark and Forrest, how are they all doing, Dana?
Yeah, so Forrest works here. He's a massive asset to this company. He comes in and works his ass off every day. He's doing great. Got a beautiful family, beautiful wife, daughter. And then I haven't talked to the Muscle Shark in years. I don't know what he's up to, but Rich Franklin actually works for another company out in Asia somewhere. I don't know where he's living, Singapore or something like that. And he's doing really well.
He was always a good kid. Wasn't he a math teacher back in the day? Just a regular old math teacher.
Math teacher and a great guy.
What a great guy. Hey, Dana, I can't thank you enough, buddy, for always doing the show. And I miss the good old days when we used to come out there and broadcast live and be part of those after parties and what have you. And I look forward to having you back on, maybe before the Tyson fight, and any pay-per-view that you'd love to promote. I'd love to have you, bud.
Anytime, my brother, and congrats on all your success. And I'll talk to you soon.
And put a word in for Joe for me, buddy.
Yeah, Joe, and I'll tell Brady you said hi.
All right, buddy. Hey, Dana White, thank you, buddy.
Later.
Good luck to you, kid. What a good guy.